I'm Megan Sussex, and I'm a good person.
Shut up, bitch.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
Ever wondered what happens when the universe hands a celebrity a megaphone and then hands British satire a chainsaw?
Iconic comedy show, the puppet satire Spitting Image was back, but this time he is being mercilessly, ruthlessly mocked.
Picture this. A beloved comedy puppet show comes back from the dead, not to entertain gently, but to absolutely eviscerate the very person who's been trying to control her own comeback narrative for years.
Trick that people do with pineapple, instead of just cutting it to make the perfect little bite, you follow the wedge.
I get another lecture from you, I'm gonna go crazy.
You might think you've seen celebrity mockery before, but nothing, I mean nothing, prepared the world for what Spitting Image unleashed on Meghan Markle when she tried to step back into the spotlight.
When nature has given you all the cues on how to have a perfect taste of something.
Oh, how fun is that? I love it.
The question everyone was whispering was simple. What happens when the woman who built an empire on privacy becomes the punchline of a puppet show watched by millions? And if you think you already know the answer, hang tight because we're just getting started.
Hello, followers. You know little old me is a high-profile, high-success, global brand-creating, vulnerable, and humble business leader.
You're a lying, scumbag piece of shit.
Before we dive into the latex and felt carnage, let's set the stage properly. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Montecito, celebrity auteur, mastermind of motivational banter, isn't just any public figure. She's someone whose brand has been delicately curated over years, polished with equal parts introspective podcasts, Hollywood production deals, and heartfelt speeches about vulnerability and personal truth. To millions, she's a symbol of empowerment and reinvention. To others, she's a paradox wrapped in a publicist's dream. But regardless of where you stand, one thing was certain.
I've decided my time is better spent doing less, and so I'll be coming on here to patronize you through your phone.
When Meghan announces another chapter, the world listens, or at least tries to. For 8 long years, she retreated, meditated on her purpose, and then reemerged with projects that promised authenticity, depth, and connection. And yet, here's the twist. When she finally made her long-awaited Hollywood return, she wasn't met with fanfare. She was met with puppets, and not the cute kind. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this going to be one of those shallow celebrity takedowns? Nope. This story starts at the intersection of intention and perception. And trust me, that's where things get messy. Because while Meghan may have planned a triumphant re-entry into the entertainment world, Britain's most merciless comedy craftsmen had already sharpened their puppet strings. And not just any strings. Strings that were ready to pull every narrative thread she ever tried to weave about authenticity, struggle, and reinvention.
And I'm meeting another good person today.
So Pads, tell me, everyone knows you're the bear who likes to share. What's the secret to your eternal personal glow?
Well, Harry, I'm glad you asked me that. As you know, I'm a huge fan of South American produce.
They didn't just poke fun, they threw gasoline on the concept of brand makeover and watched it burn with theatrical glee. Here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't random ridicule from some anonymous internet trolls. This was Spitting Image, the legendary, unapologetically savage puppet satire show that once brought politicians and pop stars to their comedic knees. They didn't merely parody Meghan's public persona, they interrogated it. In classic Spitting Image fashion, they went deep, pulled out every trope, every catchphrase, every carefully curated piece of public image armor, and then gleefully smashed it. If irony were an Olympic sport, this puppet parody would have a gold medal strapped to its felt chest before the first sketch even aired. But let's rewind for a moment. Because to truly understand why this matters, and why the world stopped scrolling to watch latex Meghan reenact taxi driver moments with deadpan absurdity, you need the full picture.
You talking to me? You talking to me? Then who the hell else are you talking to? Are you talking to me?
Is it Colombian?
No, 100% Peruvian, biodynamic, organic, catastrophic, cocaine.
Yes, I've tried it, and the results were incredible.
8 years of buildup, narrative control, artistic intention, and finally, comedic backlash that was both brutal and weirdly poetic. This isn't just a story of a comeback gone sideways. It's a lesson in cultural momentum, media framing, and the unshakable power of satire to reveal what even carefully scripted press releases tried to hide. You probably think this is where the story ends. You're wrong. Here's where it gets really messy. Because the minute Meghan's comeback announcement hit the trades, Spitting Image wasted no time turning her Hollywood dreams into a puppet show nightmare.
Like and subscribe to learn how to breathe, how as a finishing touch sticking flowers on anything means you made it with love, and I share the secret to a happy marriage.
Within hours, not days, clips were flooding YouTube, TikTok, and your aunt's Facebook feed. Yes, that aunt who still posts minion memes about self-love. The skits weren't just playful parody, they were comedic airstrikes. And the first sketch? A full-blown latex reimagining of Taxi Driver, with puppet Meghan delivering the now infamous "You talking to me?" monologue into a mirror. Except this time, she followed it up with, "Not without clearing it with my publicist first." Boom! Instant viral moment.
Which means I no longer have time for my lifestyle show, which was such a hit that I'm now in talks with Netflix to pivot to 6 seasons of no more episodes.
Because of course, what screams vulnerability and authenticity more than making sure your imaginary conversations are PR approved? The internet had a field day. Even people who swore they'd never laugh at anything involving royal mockery were crying into their oat milk lattes. This wasn't just a jab, it was a cultural gut punch, delivered with British precision and puppet-sized savagery. What made it hit so hard was the absurd accuracy. The writers didn't make up lines. They lifted them straight from Meghan's press statements, her podcast scripts, her past interviews. It wasn't caricature, it was a mirror, and suddenly Meghan's entire carefully constructed brand looked scripted, manufactured, hollow. Because when a puppet says your exact words and makes people laugh, the problem isn't the puppet. It's the material.
It makes me sad when people don't take the time to prepare good food for their loved ones. Today's recipe is going to take you 5 minutes.
Wow, that's twice as long as I spent on my new album.
Remember this moment? It becomes crucial later. But wait, there's a twist. Because if the Taxi Driver skit was the appetizer, Spitting Image came back seconds later with a full buffet of parodies that only got more savage. Enter the Jaws parody. Picture puppet Meghan in designer fishing gear, dramatically whispering, "We're going to need a bigger house." The absurdity? She already lives in a mansion with 16 bathrooms. The accuracy? Painful. The timing? Impeccable. X exploded. Someone even edited the sketch with dramatic Hans Zimmer music and called it the real Megflix. Fans of Satire hailed it as genius. Critics screamed bullying. Meghan stans threatened to sue the BBC. And in the middle of all that, Meghan herself? Radio silence. Not even a passive-aggressive Instagram story about rising above negativity? You think that's bad? Keep listening. Because Spitting Image wasn't done. They were just getting warmed up, and the sketch that came next was so bold, so uncomfortably on the nose, it deserves an Emmy for audacity.
Careful, Harry. I spilled some essential oils on the floor.
Meghan Sussex reading for Jaws. We're going to need a bigger house.
A parody of Taken, complete with dramatic music, flickering lights, and puppet Meghan on the phone channeling Liam Neeson. "I have a very particular set of skills," she says. Pause. "Skills I've acquired over a very long career." Another dramatic pause. "Wait, writing stuff on bananas?" And that's when the internet went into full meltdown. A banana callback so sharp, it sliced through 6 years of PR polish like a samurai sword made of irony. You see, back in 2019, Meghan made headlines by writing motivational quotes like, "You are loved on bananas for sex workers." It was supposed to be heartfelt, empowering. Instead, it became meme fodder faster than you can say royal outreach. And now, it was resurrected in glorious puppet glory on 4K screens in front of millions, quoted word for word as the punchline in a parody sketch. Not exaggerated, not twisted, just repeated. That's how far we've come. When satire stops needing to invent material and can just quote you directly, that's not comedy anymore. It's commentary. And just when viewers thought it couldn't possibly get more savage, it did. Because up next was the sketch that turned chuckles into full-blown cringe.
Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills like, just give me a sec.
Writing stuff on bananas?
If you thought puppet Meghan flexing her banana writing skills was brutal, the next sketch turned everything from satire to suspiciously accurate character study. Enter the Meghan Sussex audition meltdown. One latex Duchess, one dramatic monologue, and one emotionally broken ginger puppet husband named Harry, fumbling in at the worst possible time. Puppet Meghan, in full actress mode, tries to deliver her big comeback line. Enter Puppet Harry, clueless and smiling like he just wandered off a kombucha bender. She snaps, hard. "Harry, ruin my take again and I will end you." The fake studio audience howls. The internet loses its collective mind. But beneath the laugh track, a deeper cringe. Because let's be honest, this sketch wasn't just parody. It was the marriage dynamic. Meghan the director, the star, the one chasing legacy. Harry, the sidekick who still looks like he doesn't know if he's on a Netflix set or in therapy.
Place in microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that. Harry, do we have any microwave?
This wasn't mockery for the sake of mockery. This was observational comedy turned into a puppet-shaped mirror. And the reflection it showed? It wasn't pretty. It looked like a power imbalance with avocado toast. And the wild part? Fans started admitting it. Even Meghan defenders on Reddit were like, okay, but why did this feel real? When your public image becomes self-parody and even your supporters hesitate before defending you, the comeback isn't just shaky, it's slipping. But Spitting Image wasn't done dragging the dream. Oh no. Just when you thought it couldn't get more ridiculous, they dropped the microwave sketch. It starts simple. Puppet Meghan is cooking, well, sort of. She reads the line, place in the microwave, then freezes. What is microwave? She looks around confused. Harry? Do we have any of that? Puppet Harry, bless him, tries to help but ends up stuck under a bag of crisps. The implication? Meghan has become so insulated, so image managed, she no longer understands basic appliances. And while it was clearly a joke, the satire landed harder than expected. Why? Because it captured a truth nobody wants to say out loud. Meghan's brand has evolved from real to rehearsed, from relatable Duchess to hyper-controlled media machine. The Duchess, who once cried over the press, now delivers platitudes about authenticity while living in a mansion with more bathrooms than acting credits. And when satire nails your life without changing a thing, that's no longer humor, that's narrative collapse. And here's the kicker.
It's a microwave, silly.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking Duchess! Shake that off!
Oh.
This wasn't just the internet laughing, the critics joined in too. And their words, way more savage than any puppet script. That's not even the craziest part, because after all the banana jokes, microwave confusion, and felt-faced fury, the real punch didn't come from Spitting Image. It came from the critics. The actual legit critics. And when they entered the chat, it wasn't to defend Meghan, it was to declare open season. The Times' Camilla Miki dropped the verbal equivalent of a nuclear roast. Her review of the puppet sketch? I've had more fun with hemorrhoids. I mean, that's not a review, that's a tombstone inscription carved in sarcasm. She didn't just pan the parody. She called out the entire Meghan and Harry narrative as beyond satire. You can't parody them anymore, she wrote. They've already done it to themselves. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. The Sussex saga, from Spotify flops to lifestyle brands that make Gwyneth Paltrow look grounded, has become so bizarre, so overly curated, that satire can't keep up. Meghan talking about taking up space while launching a jam brand? Meghan preaching about privacy while signing production deals with global streamers? The contradictions aren't even subtle anymore. They're the whole show, which is exactly why Spitting Image hit so hard. It didn't exaggerate her, it documented her, and that's where it stings the most. But the most brutal cut of all? Meghan said nothing. Not a peep, not a quote, not even one of those passive-aggressive Instagram posts about rising above the noise with a blurry photo of a sunset. Total royal silence. And that silence? That was the sound of the PR panic room being locked from the inside. Because, let's be honest, if you respond, you're feeding the beast. If you ignore it, you look like it got to you. And if you try to sue, well, then you're the Duchess who tried to take down a puppet. Either way, it's a lose-lose PR loop, and Meghan knows it, which is why she did the only thing left. Pretend she didn't see it. But Hollywood saw it. Oh, Hollywood definitely saw it. Here's where things get really dark. Behind the velvet curtains of casting meetings and production deals, people started whispering, producers murmuring that her brand baggage was becoming a liability. Casting agents reportedly calling her a PR grenade in a designer dress. Translation? When your name trends more for puppet skits than actual projects, you stop being a brand and start being a risk. Meghan wanted a redemption arc, but what she got was a meme arc. And in an industry that's allergic to anything unpredictable unless it's scripted, that's a red flag the size of Buckingham Palace. Because here's the truth Hollywood lives by. You can be controversial, you can even be divisive, but what you cannot be is unfunny when mocked. And unfortunately for Meghan, Spitting Image didn't just mock her, it exposed how little there is left to rebrand. What's worse? The world agreed. Even fans admitted, okay, this one hurt. The comeback Meghan envisioned, red carpets, headlines, standing ovations, it was replaced by latex, awkward laughter, and a cultural eye roll so loud it echoed from Montecito to Mayfair. But what happened next? That was the final twist no one saw coming. You'd think that after being roasted into oblivion by puppets, Meghan would respond with some kind of statement. A polished clapback, a thoughtful TED Talk, something. But nope, nada, not a royal syllable. The woman who once built an entire lifestyle brand on voice, vision, and vulnerability suddenly lost her voice faster than Harry lost his podcast. No emotional Instagram captions, no sources close to Meghan say she's devastated leaks, unless you count the one from a wellness blog that said she was processing creatively. Translation, her team was probably hiding behind a Himalayan salt lamp trying to figure out what the hell just happened. And that silence, that wasn't strength, that was strategy. Because here's what Meghan and her inner circle know. You can't sue a puppet. You can't call a press conference against a latex caricature. And every time you speak, you feed the machine. She's learned the hard way that trying to fight satire is like arguing with a wind machine. All it does is mess up your hair and make you look desperate. So instead, she did the only thing left to do. Pretend it didn't happen. But in an industry built on optics, not reacting is still a reaction. And everyone noticed, especially Hollywood. While Britain cackled at puppet Meghan threatening to end Harry over a flub take, Tinseltown did what it does best. It smiled politely and took notes. Word began circulating that her name was starting to show up on casting risk lists. One anonymous agent allegedly called her the most famous liability in a $14 million mansion. Another called her brand high maintenance, low return. And that's Hollywood code for we'd rather cast literally anyone else. Because here, image is currency. And when your reputation becomes a punchline, especially before your comeback even drops, you're not starring in a comeback, you're starring in a cautionary tale. Let's not sugarcoat it. Meghan left the British monarchy in search of freedom, independence, and artistic reinvention. And somehow, she ended up a latex doll getting laughed at on late-night TV. Spitting Image didn't just lampoon her, it summed her up. They didn't need to write outlandish jokes. They just exaggerated her existing sound bites by 5%, and it was comedy gold. Meghan's insistence on controlling her image ironically made her easier to parody. And now she's become the thing every celebrity dreads, a brand no one takes seriously. Not royal enough for royalty, not real enough for Hollywood, not relatable enough for influencers. She's just content. Meme content. And in a world addicted to viral moments, that's not a win. That's a warning sign. Here's the brutal truth. Spitting Image didn't destroy Meghan's career. It just exposed how shaky it already was. It didn't ruin her comeback. It revealed there was never a real comeback to begin with. Just a press release, a podcast, a few lifestyle quotes, and a mountain of self-awareness, slogans glued together with avocado oil. What it showed, loud and clear, is that you can't manifest relevance. You have to earn it. And puppets don't lie. They just hold up the mirror. And so the latex curtain falls. Meghan Markle, the woman who once conquered the tabloids, the palace, and a nation's obsession with her hair, has now been defeated by foam, felt, and 5 minutes of sketch comedy. The Hollywood comeback she dreamed of turned into a case study on how satire sees through spin. And whether she responds or not, one truth now lives rent-free in the public consciousness. When the punchlines start writing themselves, the comeback is already over. But if you think this takedown was savage, oh honey, you haven't seen anything yet. My last deep dive exposed how Meghan's brand collapse was written in the stars and the banana quotes. Hit that next video to see just how far the empire of vulnerability has fallen.